February 11th town council meeting, and those watching by way of internet. I'd like to welcome them also on this rainy afternoon. Go over to welcome. Here's the on the calendar, only thing we got there is our next scheduled board meeting, which is Tuesday, February the 25th. Is our next scheduled board meeting. And also I'd like to announce some of the board members there and those of y'all to keep one of our assistant public works director in your thoughts and prayers. He's in Mission, had surgery there. If anyone would like to talk to me after the meeting, I would be glad to give them a kind of an update there. But keep your thoughts and prayers for Ricky Foster and his family. Okay, we'll move right on here to public comment. So we've got some public comment. If I would, yeah, you.
Trump.
Yeah, the rules are use a 3-minute time limit, and the town attorney will keep a time limit on that. That just all you have to do is state your name.
My name is Charlie Trump, and my wife and I own the old brick house in Main Street.
Nice to have you.
What I wanted to actually make a comment on and get your thoughts. I know you can't respond, but recently on one of our ice festival events, we had the street closing early at 2 o'clock, and a lot of the merchants felt the pinch in that. Because once the signs went out, most of the people that were coming into town saw that they could not park and had to leave after 2 p.m. They left. So from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, it was dead. Absolutely no customers came in the store. I don't know if there's a way to be able to make it work. We all can benefit from this. It looked like there was no reason to close it for most of the merchants on the street that early. I understand there probably was, but because of the rain, it didn't really make any sense. But what I wanted to propose on further street closings on evening events, not necessarily day events, was to actually close the street all day. The reason why I say that is because that way it's already announced. Anybody coming into town will already know that they need to park elsewhere. They don't have to move their vehicles earlier and then leave, because most people want to get in their vehicles at 2 o'clock and leave. They're not coming back on Main Street. They're done. And I know personally in our store at 2 o'clock, when the civilian police came through and made an announcement that they had to move, everybody stopped, dropped, and left. Now, they may have happened a little bit more down the street also, but we kind of lose some customers on that. So my proposal would be to close the street all day, and then what's happening later that evening, maybe they can use that opportunity to put something daytime that only is daytime only during that area. Don't have to be a massive festival, but this ice festival that just happened, maybe there could be an opportunity for nonprofits or some people to put up some booths and tents and just to make some discussions of what's going on, or maybe the TDA could actually expand it earlier instead of going into the evening also. But my concerns is going forward is when events happen at 5 o'clock and beyond, the streets closed early for like 3 hours to clear the cars off the street, and the merchants suffer for sales on those days. And that's maybe could one of those things that we just got to suck it up. But I was just throwing it out there to see if there was a way to actually come up with a better solution for all of us for that.
Yeah, I think you make a very good point.
Thank you for listening.
I'll pass that on to John. John, you're on the Downtown Waynesville Commission. Could you bring his comments to your board and speak about that? I think he made a really, really good point there, because again, closing, everybody having to leave at 2 o'clock, which, that does make everybody want to leave. And if we maybe closed it earlier like that, we can maybe add some more events, maybe some musicians or something like that for the street that day. It's got an event going and maybe make people want to draw and come there. That's just my thought. Okay. Yes. Anybody else have a thought on that? Okay. Next.
Becky Trump. I'm ready now. Hi, I'm Becky Trump. I want to thank you all. Whenever I was looking at the notes of everything that's going to be covered tonight, you have massive amount of reading to do.
Yeah.
And I am a tiny little micro in the middle of everything that's going on for the town of Waynesville. I know that it's just little, but it's important to me. So I wanted to let you know how I feel. And it's in regards to the closing of Main Street, allowing 3 or 4 hours for setup. I've not ever needed to do a hands-on setup of a booth, so I don't know how long that takes. And of course, you have to set up, then you've got to get your vehicle out of the way. I do know that in the past, we were given statistics about the dollars that came in with each parking space that was available on Main Street, how much was made per hour on average. I couldn't find that. I didn't even know where to go and look for it. I know there's statistics out there, but don't know where they're at. What I do know is that I had shoppers nervous all day. Are they going to tow me? What are they going to do if I'm not there at 2 o'clock to move my car? And you do everything you can to soothe things and tell them everything's okay. And then it was shortly after 2 o'clock that the civilian police came in with the authority, their uniforms. And so they're casting this feeling and said, if your car is out on Main Street, you need to move. And we literally had people sit down items they had intended to purchase, and they walked away. They did not return after reparking their car to make that purchase. I didn't bother to add up totals. It wasn't massive. But this time of year, it is really painful to lose even one sale for $5 because we're pinching our pennies everywhere we can. I don't have a solution, but I know we've got a lot of very smart people within the district as well as on the council. Surely we can put heads together and come up with some answers that are going to be workable, or at least a solution to try. And that's everything I have. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, John.
You got it.
Jerry Jackson.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jerry Jackson. I'm the owner of Gallery 164 on Main Street. So I guess it seems like unofficially we're not in downtown, but we are getting ready to move to 136 North Main Street, and really excited to be part of a different experience in that area. I have a little bit different take tonight. I want to, in your consent agenda tonight, there's a lot of festivals and a lot of activities that you are going to vote on. And I just want to say, I think this is incredibly important for a town, for people to understand what that means for a community, for the town, and what it brings. So I'm not complaining about parking. I'm not, and you're not complaining, but I haven't experienced that yet. I have a whole different experience where we're located, but it does send a message, and I want to make sure that we can continue to send those messages. You can provide the funds and you can provide the opportunity. The only thing that I'm asked is that, Ann, someone notified me about this meeting tonight, and I was looking at the agenda. And the thing is, you're going to vote on this tonight. And as merchants, there are so many merchants that are struggling and so many merchants that are frustrated because there's no communications. And we're just simply asking for the communications. We are the ones that are on the front line And we're not trying to do your job. We're not trying to take over your job. We just want to help you. We want to do this collectively, and that's what makes the town successful. That's the reason I came here 15 months ago. It's the reason we started a business, is because I felt like this was a place for that, based on what all the years I've been coming to Waynesville, all the people I know in Waynesville. And but it's about communications, and we just asked that, a community listening session, especially for the downtown association. We don't get information. I get so little shared with me on Main Street, but we just want to be a part of the communications, and we've been promised conversations before, and they don't happen. And to the staff, it's a hard job. I understand that, and there's only so much time that the staff has to put towards certain things. We just want to make sure that we can help. We're there to help because it's important to all of us. All these people over here we're all in the same boat, and we just want to make sure that we're contributing our part in strong communications and making sure that everything is the best it can possibly be for downtown, and the people that live here and the people that visit here. We're all on social media. We're all begging people to come, and let's make that strong. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We also have someone on our board that's on the Downtown Waynesville Commission, so we will check that out for you. Can I bring something else up? Is the complaint that
There's another one,
oh, you got another? I'll wait till we get through it.
and I think it's a squash.
Hi, I'm Ann Walsh with the owner of Avon Arden on 60 North Main Street, and I sure appreciate y'all allowing us to do public comment tonight. Becky informed us that on the agenda tonight is all about the street closing and all the events.
Right.
This may sound like a broken record, but when you close the streets for us, it kills our business. So when it kills our business, what? We're not getting tax revenue. We're not getting those tax dollars that are coming in to help support the city. We have a vibrant and beautiful Main Street. Everybody sits there, they'll come in and say, this is my first time in Waynesville. I never knew there were these great shops here. But if y'all have to understand the importance of allowing certain events to have where the street is entirely closed. Sorry, Charlie, I don't like your idea of closing the street all day long for an evening event, because people think that the businesses are shut down. I took pictures at the Ice Fest starting at 2 o'clock. Traffic, there was no street traffic. There was nothing on the street. But guess what? You're not getting tax dollars coming in. When it comes to the parking, it's something where we know we need more parking on Main Street. But just the Church Street Festival is unbelievable for all of us. The Apple Festival is an incredible income for most of store owners. But when it comes to those other events, I have found, because I have numbers now from 4.5 years, the Fall Festival this summer when they shut down the street, I lost money compared to last year. So I wish y'all could just come to us as merchants and say, hey guys, this is what we're thinking. I feel like Jerry said, as merchants, we really don't get that much. We feel like we don't have input into what is going on. It's all of a sudden we'll find out, wait, the street is closed? We didn't know it was closing. Why are they shutting it down at 2 o'clock when the event's at 5 o'clock? Why did they need 3 hours to set up an event? Those kind of things, you don't have to shut the street down. You can just have it like Art After Dark. Let people just stroll up and down the street. Those are very successful in my instance, in my store. So I wish y'all would really, really, really put your thinking caps on and really think about what it means to do street closers for us merchants on Main Street. And we would appreciate it. And again, come to us. We feel like sometimes we have no voice as merchants. I know there's the Downtown Waynesville Commission, But I don't know if our voices are being heard. So many people say they're not coming tonight because they've said the same thing over and over again, and they feel like their voices are not being heard. So please listen to us. It's important. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Does that conclude? Okay, we'll move on. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda anyone aware of? If not, I'll ask for a motion that they be approved.
So moved.
Got a motion with Julie,
Second.
second with John. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. So ordered. Consent agenda. This has got all those.
Mr. Mayor, before you call for a motion, Councilman Dixon brought to my attention that there is a typo of some kind in paragraph 4 of item K. And what the typo is will need to be clarified by staff. Because the word 4 is there and the number 5.
It is supposed to be 500,
Okay, so we'll need to amend the contract.
amended to 5.
Okay,
Tommy Lee's, the last 5 years, $400. And now it's
so if someone on the board can make a motion to amend the
To amend
contract to correct, make that correction and then it's an agenda. We approve this amended.
Okay,
I move that we amend item K on the consent agenda to reflect $500 for the lease.
okay.
Second.
Got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Okay, still need to pass the consent.
I move that we adopt the consent agenda as amended.
So, second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. So ordered. Okay, thank you guys. Move right along. Next order of business is my project. I got a proclamation here tonight for the Rotary Club of Waynesville celebrating 100 years. So we'll get it together here. All right, the proclamation reads, whereas the Rotary Club of Waynesville was founded on January 25th, 1925, and received its charter from Rotary International on February 21st, 1925. Joining an organization that today has more than 1.2 million men and women in more than 45,000 clubs in over 200 countries around the world, committed toward building goodwill and serving as a force for peace. And whereas Waynesville Rotary is an organization of business and professional leaders who are united and dedicated to provide humanitarian services and encourage high ethical standards in business and professions, recognize the worthlessness of all useful occupations, and encourage the idea of service in personal, business, and community life of every Rotarian. Whereas Waynesville Rotary's guiding principle is that service above self. Whereas Waynesville Rotary continually pursues 5 avenues of service: community service, vocational service, international service, and new generations of service, and club service. And whereas in pursuit in these goals, Waynesville Rotary has played key roles in bringing enhanced values to our community, our region, and the world through Christmas baskets for families, scholarships for students, habitat housing, eradical of polio worldwide effort, Manna Food Bank meals for students, and Allen's Creek Park Pavilion, Park Pathways Meals and Housing, and foreign student exchange programs, and also honoring our air flights for veterans to World War II Korean Vietnam memorials, major building support to Haywood vocational opportunities, and many, many community fundraising projects. And whereas the Waynesville Rotary now celebrates 100 years of service above self, applying the four-way test used by Rotarians worldwide of these things we think and say or do in moral code for personnel and for business relationships. The four-way test is, it is one, it is the truth. Two, it is fair to be all concerned. Three, will build goodwill and better friendships. Four, will it beneficial to all concerned. This is long. Now therefore, I, Gary Caldwell, Mayor of the town of Waynesville, congratulate Rotary Club of Waynesville on its 100th anniversary and look forward to its continued innovation and leadership in our community to hereby proclaim the week of February the 21st, 2025 as Rotary Club of Waynesville Week in Waynesville, North Carolina, in celebration of Rotary's commitment to service and witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand, caused the seal of the town of Waynesville to be fixed this 11th day of February in the year of our Lord 2025. That is to be commended for. The Waynesville Rotary Club has done a lot for our community. Okay, we move along to presentations. We have a presentation by our Assistant Fire Chief, Chris Mahaffey.
Thank y'all for your time, and I'll be brief. You have the complete report in your agenda. Obviously, the big thing for 2024 was Hurricane Helene and their response, and due to some pre-planning and some forethought and the council's help in letting us get a boat that we kind of got some flack on until we needed it, and miraculously we got it into service 3 days before the flood. And as a result, we made dozens of rescues along with all the other town departments, and we didn't lose a single citizen. So I think that says a lot about the help that y'all gave us. Also, one of the things real quick, I had at a glance sheet there. The big thing is their call volume did drop this year. We were tracking along to our normal 5 to 7% up until the hurricane. Seems kind of counterintuitive that calls would go down during a disaster, but we saw the same thing during COVID. It changes the whole response patterns. So that being said, one of the most important things, and one of the things that I've brought to y'all before is, and it's indicative of the situation that we're in right now, is being, speaking of that, going on more than one call simultaneously. And that's one of our issues, and that's that call overlap. We're at 32%, which is a 5% decrease. And again, that's because of the council's help in adding part-time pay, adding those additional personnel, which has allowed us to split our units and be able to respond to those events. So again, it's all because of your help, and we're headed in the right way. Obviously, we still got some more work to do, but we're headed in the right direction. So now I'd like to give the rest of my time to Chief Webb. This will be his last council presentation after 18 years of service to the town and 16 and a half as the fire chief.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, board, and I'll not take much time. I just wanted to, since this is the last official board meeting I'll be attending, I just want to thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege for the last 16 and a half years to be your fire chief. And I feel very comfortable as I leave that it's in good hands. We have a good staff. You've allowed us to add to our staff, and we hope that continues. So we still need the 4, John. That'll always be. But you have a great department, and I ask you just to keep investing in those folks. We have good people, and like everybody else, we compete with salaries for the surrounding areas. And these guys don't do it just for the money. They're really dedicated. One area of concern, and Mr. Heights knows about this, is replacing our ladder truck. This year it turns 31 years old. We have specs ready to replace the truck. It takes 3 years now to get a replacement. So we, at some point we're hoping we're looking at several avenues to replace that. But that could affect our insurance rating, without that ladder truck. We'd have to depend on the volunteer departments to be able to get that. Need that and an engine. So, there's a lot ahead of us and there's a lot of things to work out. I just appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this. I'm not going away. I'm still active in the state and I hope to be around town and I'm always available if I can help in any way. I appreciate it.
Chief, didn't you say that told me the starting point on that truck is 2.5 possibly?
Yeah,
million?
right now about 2.1, I think was the last number we got around. Yeah, and the engine will be right around $1 million. So we're looking at avenues. We're looking a little over $3 million just to replace that. I know we've got the station that's on back hold right now, and we can make do with that. But the trucks are the biggest concern because the time of getting those ordered and getting them online. It takes so long to get one in production. That's our biggest concern.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. And I see you're getting my old antique truck fixed finally.
It's coming soon.
We get to drive that in the parade, maybe. Julia and I.
Yes.
Yeah, Julia and I.
I'll drive and you guys will ride.
Julia will be driving it in the parade.
Make sure everybody's.
And your picture on your annual report, that is a great idea. You've done an awesome job on it. The report, I studied that. It was very, very good. Thank you so much. Okay, we have a presentation from Winters, right? Say that with them.
Withers Revenue.
Withers Revenue, yeah. Engineers on the update of our stormwater master plan. Okay.
Good evening, Olga Gruman, Assistant Development Services Director. Before we turn over to Withers Ravenel, I would like to give the council a brief overview of today's presentation and the grant. On March 23rd, 2023, the town of Waynesville was awarded a $400,000 stormwater planning grant funded by the American Rescue Plan Act and administered by the NCDQ. To your agenda, you see there are a few documents attached: Comprehensive Stormwater Master Plan Award, project timeline, and the PowerPoint of the upcoming presentation. The planning grant will update the existing 2008 Stormwater Master Plan and create a new comprehensive Stormwater Master Plan. The updated plan will include an asset inventory assessment, a broad study to identify stormwater issues and improvements on town's properties, an evaluation of areas where the sewer system is infiltrating the stormwater system, and other long-term planning initiatives. We will also identify potential capital improvement projects and offer specific recommendations. The plan was started in the fall of 2023, and it's reimbursement-based. There is no match required from the town for this $400,000 grant. The grant timeline is approved by NCDQ is attached for reference. Upon receiving the grant, the town staff advertised requests for qualifications, resulting in the selection of Withers Ravenel engineering firm because of their strong and extensive relevant experience and detailed scope of services. The grant requires that an update to be presented to the town council on the progress. Today, Withers Ravenel will provide an update via presentation. The grant is scheduled to close by the end of 2026, and both draft and a final version of the Stormwater Master Plan will also be presented to the council. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Withers Ravenel, Haley Valdez, and Doris Sava.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you, everyone, for hearing us. And we're really excited actually to present where we are on this project now and what we have steps going forward. Going to play the slides. As Olga mentioned, this is for the Stormwater Comprehensive Master Plan. So we're doing an analysis of the areas of concerns where you have some stormwater issues, how to fix them, and looking at path forward throughout the town. Brief agenda for our presentation in here. We'll be doing some introductions in here for us, the objective of the project that was mentioned earlier, our process schedule. We're going to review what we have completed so far to date, and then the tasks that are yet to be completed. So in here, I am Dory Sabat, Director of Stormwater, actually I lead of Stormwater at Reserve Land. But I admit I have 20+ years experience in the field, doing various studies like this, master planning, drainage improvement, overall infrastructure improvements for municipal projects. Haley Valdez is the project engineer that actually is running simulations and stormwater models on the project. We don't have the name listed in here, but I would like to acknowledge Amanda Hollingsworth. She's the project manager, but she could not be here. She started her maternity leave on Monday. So hopefully you'll see her by the next presentation in here. A few things on the background. Again, the project is entirely funded through ARPA money, so there was no match from the town. And that was a unique opportunity to get these grant funds. They are all depleted by now, and they have to be completed by December 2026, like what I mentioned. That is a strict deadline where it would take an act of Congress to change it. But like we'll see later on the schedule, we are ahead of time and we'll be able to meet all this. Few things on the purpose and objective, really. We wanted to collect, first thing to do a good analysis is to know what's in the ground. So we wanted to collect the data, and that's what we do in terms of inventory. We have field crews collecting where there are some water features, assemble them into a single database that can be analyzed and modeled for few things. Next item I have in here is to assess the flooding. So once we have all that data, we'll put it in a model, run some simulations, and see where are the flood-prone areas within the town, and that will allow us to take it a step further and then identify solutions to the problems and prioritize those, develop capital improvement plan, and look at how to get them implemented in the future. Overall process and schedule, again, we started in November 2023. We're going well on schedule. Right now, we are somewhere where we finished the existing condition modeling, so we have done assessment of the town facilities, and then we have done a first public meeting input. We'll have a couple of public meetings. The first one is to get the input from the public as to where are the problems, what are they seeing, and then we'll use that data to validate what we have in our simulations and models. The second one is where we present solutions and get some feedback on what we're presenting. This way, you will get engagement from the community early on to have a good reception on the project. The inventory, that's the mapping and all this is completed. We finished putting things in the model, ran the simulations. Now we have a good idea of flood-prone areas, and we are moving towards developing projects. From that, we'll have the capital improvement plan. Along both of these, we're going to look at resiliency such that we don't want to just improve things for now. What will happen in the future, we'll try to accommodate for that one. Storms are changing, the area is developing, so we are going to incorporate all of this into analysis. With that, we'll do a master plan report. That one gets a draft, and then the final one gets submitted. It needs DWI approval, the Department of Water Infrastructure, the funding agency, and it needs to be approved by the council for it to be able to close out the project and get all the funding. You can see that we're planning on finishing towards the end of 2025 this year, so we have plenty of time to meet the funding deadline for 2026. So what have we completed so far? We looked at the town facility investigation. We detail each one of them, and here these ones we looked at. We finished the public meeting, the first public meeting input, the inventory update, and the existing condition hydrologic and hydraulic modeling. That's the model and simulations where we get the analysis. The town facility investigation, and that's a commendable approach actually here for the town, because it's not very common that towns start with looking inward as to what can we improve and how we can be stewards to their community. So that's a really good task that we don't see it very often in master plans, to identify deficiencies and problems within your own facilities, not just the right ways. And we were able to look at 3 facilities. In general, we didn't see anything that requires immediate action now where it needs to be corrected. A couple of them will be included in the overall project areas for future improvements. Public meeting, again, getting the input from the community. First, we will know what are the concerns, what we need to look at. And second, all that input that we receive, we know some anecdotal information about flooding that occurred, concerns, areas of concerns, and we will run our simulations and we use it to validate the results. Because the computer model, I mean, it's a big calculator. Whatever we get from there, we need to validate it against something that is happening in the field. And that's where we use that input. The public meeting was both in person, where we had folks identify their concerns, whether it's street flooding, structural flooding, houses, those are more important. And then if it's a maintenance issue or even if it's a water quality issues, it's almost like a shared style. We ask everyone to color code their areas of concerns. We put them on a map and we compare it to our model. As well as we did the online survey in there where people answer a set of questions and that will give us some idea on priorities and importance and the public need for this. This one, hey, you'll take it from here.
Hi. So the next task that we have already completed is our inventory update. So when we're looking at areas that we wanted to complete the inventory update for, 3 areas were selected, which you can see on there. They're Frog Level, Hazelwood, and Shelton Branch. So these were selected keeping in mind the low-lying areas of the town and issues where areas where we know flooding is has been identified and is occurring. And then also Hazelwood was selected because, as you know, that was incorporated and previous survey hasn't been done. So this was a good opportunity to update that inventory and learn what's out there, get better information on that area. So as part of this process, we had data that was given to us from the town, from the existing inventory, and then we incorporated all of the new survey that was taken as part of the process in those 3 areas into a comprehensive database that has all of your stormwater inventory that's available in that database. And so when we go into the database, every structure that was surveyed and we have information on has an attribute, and you can see all of the information. So that includes things like materials, pipe sizes, structural condition of that was noted while field crews were out there. And then also for the new inventory that was done, every structure that was assessed has a picture of both the inside of the structure and the outside that can be brought up right within that database. And so it's all linked, so it can be found right there and you can see what's going on when that was taken out in the field. So using all that data that was gathered, all that new inventory, we moved on to existing conditions modeling for the hydraulic and hydrologic modeling. So this utilizes a modeling software that was developed by the EPA. And we take all that data that was collected with the inventory and we put it into this model. And then we're able to run different storm events through that system and assess the different capacities based on those storm events. So this is a little example of what that model looks like. We have drainage areas to each of the structures and the pipes and open channels connecting those. And we're able to run those different storm events. So for this assessment, we did the 10, 25-year, 50, and 100-year chance storm events. And then within the model, we were looking at pipes 15 inches or greater. But all of the pipes were utilized in order to develop those drainage areas and make sure we're getting the correct flows to those different structures when we're looking at these inputs. So from that model, we then were able to develop some mapping where we can identify areas where there are concerns. And to do that, we color code these systems so that you can see which storm events are starting to have capacity issues for both the pipes and the nodes. And so, for example, if you look at this, we have if something is showing up as red, that means it's starting to flood during the 10-year event. It's starting to have not enough capacity, and then every storm greater than that as well. Whereas if it was orange, it's okay during the 10-year event, but as we reach the higher 25-year event, we're now starting to see a capacity issue there. And then also we did some riverine inundation. So that's similar to like a FEMA line that you would see along the stream channels, and showing the approximate extent of that flooding for those different storm events within the open channel systems. From that assessment, we identified areas that we're calling potential areas of concern. And so those were identified for the closed systems, so pipes and structures, where they were reaching capacity during the 10-year event. And then we also looked at crossings, so like roadway crossings with culverts or bridges, and those were assessed for where they're overtopping during the 50-year event. And so from that, we identified over, I think it was 42 areas throughout the town where we're seeing that level of service not being met. So we're reaching that capacity in the 10-year or the 50-year for the open channels. And we've created comprehensive maps that showed all of those areas. And then based on the scope of the project, we were selecting 8 project areas. And so from all the 42 that we found, we pulled out 8 that we believe would be good candidates for a potential concept project as part of this effort. And this is all provided in a table with reasoning behind why this might be a good area for a potential project. So I'm just going to briefly touch on some of the project areas that were selected, so we can just get an idea of what we were looking for and the potential project that you're going to see coming out of this in the next phase of the project. So this is Shelton Branch, and within Shelton Branch, the first area that was identified as a potential good candidate for a project is the Public Works building here. We know that there has been identified flooding in this area, and that it's town-owned, and that it would be a good candidate for a project. We think there's good potential for increasing the capacity of the system in this area and helping to alleviate some of those known issues. The next area is the crossing along Broad Street that Shelton Creek goes through. This area was noted in our public survey as an area that people have experienced flooding issues, and we're seeing limited capacity of this crossing that could be causing backwater upstream and might be a reason for some of those known flooding points. And then the final project area in Shelton Branch is this area here on, I don't know the name of the street. Shelton, thank you. Can't find my notes. And this is an area where in the modeling we're seeing roadway flooding that's occurring and ponding at the intersection there. And we believe that by potentially upsizing the pipes in this area, adding some more capacity, we could reduce the flooding along the roadway and help alleviate it within this residential area. Moving on to Frog Level, we pulled out 2 areas for potential projects within Frog Level. One, when we were considering options for potential projects for this project, we did take into consideration the potential impact that the project could have. So in Frog Level, there is a lot of low-lying areas where we're seeing big impacts from the stream itself. And that is a bigger undertaking and potentially has limited opportunities as far as a concept project for this. And so we were really looking at areas that were less impacted by the stream inundation and were more structural issues within the stormwater system itself that could show improvement from a potential project. So the first is Charles Street and Branner Avenue. This system, when we look at the data that we have, it has a lot of changes in pipe sizes and different negative slopes, things that are making it inefficient, that we think cleaning up the system, adding more capacity would help alleviate the flooding that we're seeing on the street, which is around a parking garage and a lot of houses. And so we think this would be a good candidate to help alleviate that roadway flooding we're seeing. And then similar, this is Haywood and Depot. This is an undersized system where increasing that capacity could really make an impact. Finally, our last areas are in the Hazelwood district, and the first is in Brown Avenue and Georgia Avenue. And this is another area that we have known records of flooding, and this is a town of Waynesville office there. And so this was selected, again, wanting to be a good steward of the infrastructure within the town's property. And so we're seeing undersized culverts below the roadway there, as well as additional undersized infrastructure that's leading into those culverts and causing a lot of roadway flooding and also ponding in the parking lot behind the building. And then the final two areas are Hazelwood Ave and then Kentucky Ave. These are both in residential neighborhoods, and we're seeing a lot of water getting onto the roadway in that lower 10-year storm event due to limited capacity of these systems. And so they were selected as good candidates for potential projects as well. So just the last thing would be to just touch base on the remaining project paths. So as we move forward from where we are now, ending the existing conditions modeling, we're moving into those concept developments. So we've identified the 8 concept project areas, and we're going to move into modeling potential project solutions for that. So with that, we would be developing preliminary cost estimates and assessing downstream impacts of those project areas. And then the next item, once we have those 8 project concepts, we will develop a capital improvement plan. So to assess prioritization of those projects over the next 10 years, taking into consideration a maintenance plan and the assessment of financial needs and the preliminary costs for repairs and replacements and the CIP projects for the town. And then in parallel to also developing those concept plans, as Dory mentioned, we know it's important to be assessing growth and resiliency of these projects. And so assessing future storm events and making sure that we're giving you project ideas that are taking that into consideration and building resiliency into your plan. And then finally, the final piece is the master plan report, which will be a comprehensive report detailing all the things that we've done, all the tasks that we've already gone over, the methodology and recommendations for storm event considerations. And then also we identified quite a few other areas of potential areas of concern throughout the town, and we know those might be good candidates for projects in the future. So providing some recommendations as you go forward, looking forward for keeping those other project areas in mind and how those can be incorporated. I want to open it up for any questions.
John, do you have any questions?
I do not.
George?
Yes, sir.
Chuck? Thank you all very much. You have done a lot of hard work in this, and we appreciate your hard effort.
Appreciate your time.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Keep us on our toes. Okay, move along. We've got some couple public hearings tonight. The first public hearing will be to consider a request for an annexation for 3 contiguous parcels. Olga, would you like to speak on that?
Sir, thank you. Once again, good
Whoa,
evening.
whoa, 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 whoa. we need a motion to open the public hearing.
I move we open the public hearing.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Once again, good evening, Olga Grumman, Assistant Development Services Director. This is a public hearing to consider a request for annexation for 3 contiguous parcels. I may have them on the screen. I will read the parcels for the record. First is unaddressed 2.77 acre parcel of East Street, PIN number 8615-884442, zoned as Raccoon Creek Neighborhood Residential Conditional District. Second parcel is 0.45 acre parcel at 97 Allison Acres Drive, PIN number 8615-883857, zoned as East Waynesville Urban Residential Conditional District. And eastern portion of a 3.37 acre parcel at 18 Allison Acres Drive, PIN number 8615-881632, zoned as East Waynesville Urban Residential Conditional District. The town of Waynesville received the attached petition for annexation for a contiguous area from David Gruber, manager of UP Allison LLC. This petition is for 3 parcels of East Street as specified above. The properties are part of the future site for a 60-unit townhome development. 2 parcels, pins 8615-884442 and 8615-883857, are fully within the town's extraterritorial jurisdiction, while 1 parcel, 8615-881632, is partially within the town's extraterritorial jurisdiction and already partially is within the municipal boundaries. Per our General Code of Ordinances, Section 58-277, a written petition for annexation must accompany all requests for connections or extension of sewer lines outside of the town's corporate limits. The project will connect to the municipal sewer on the western side of East Street and to the Valleywood Farm sewer line on the east. The development has already prepaid its sewer capacity fees to secure the allocation, which was locked in 2022 when the site plan was approved. The tap fees will be paid separately. Future action to annex this property will allow the property to receive town municipal services and be subject to town property tax. Attached for your consideration is the ordinance to approve the annexation of the described properties. And today I also have the applicant's representative, Jay Harvey, the Director of Land Acquisition for Parks Properties, and their attorney, Bob Post, if you have any additional questions. And just to zoom out, that's where the properties are. There are bordering the Queen's Farm.
Anyone have any questions for Olga?
No, sir.
Okay. Anyone from the public would like to speak on behalf of this annexation? You're welcome to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and members of the council. Olga's already introduced me. I'm Bob Ost. I'm from Asheville and I represent Court Properties. With me here is Jay Harvey, who is the Director of Land Acquisition Development Services. We're here, I want to thank Olga and Elizabeth for the job they did. Really, all the staff did a great job. And we are here to answer any questions if you have them. Be straightforward.
Thank you, sir. Okay. No further questions. I'll have a motion that we close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
A motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Okay, the wishes of the board.
Ready to make a motion?
Okay.
I move that we,
Read on that.
I move that we adopt the ordinance as attached to our agenda to approve the annexation of the 3 described properties.
Okay, got a motion?
Second.
Second, Julia. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Welcome to Waynesville. Okay, we're moving along. We have another public hearing here to consider requests for a land development standards map amendment to rezone 4 Elsania Avenue, pin 8605-73-82-36 from Hazelwood Urban to Residential to Hazelwood Business District. Okay. Alex.
Thank you, Council. Alex Mumby, Land Use Administrator. The applicant is seeking to rezone the property at 4 Ellisenia Avenue from Hazelwood Urban Residential to Hazelwood Business District. The subject property is located at 4 Ellisenia Avenue in Waynesville, North Carolina. The property is surrounded on 3 sides by the Hazelwood Business District. Hazelwood Business Park is located to the east, and Giles Chemical is located to the south. The rezoning would connect the 2 parts of the Hazelwood Business District. On July 13th, 2025, the Planning Board held a public hearing to consider the proposed rezoning. The Planning Board voted to recommend denial of the proposed rezoning in a split vote of 3-2. This is a legislative hearing on the proposed zoning amendment for the property at 4 Ellisenia Avenue, Waynesville, North Carolina, zip code 28786, and number 8605-738236. The subject property is approximately 0.68 acres and is in the 100-year floodplain. The property is triangularly shaped with roads on 2 sides and single-family properties to the north. Hazelwood Avenue runs along the south side of the property with Westwood Circle along the east and Ellisenia Avenue to the west. Richland Business Park is to the east of the property across the street. The subject property is currently zoned within the Hazelwood Urban Residential District. To the east is the Hazelwood Business Railroad Overlay District. To the south and west is the Hazelwood Business District. 200 feet to the south of the subject property is the Commercial Industrial District and Railroad Overlay District. The railroad corridor itself is located 400 feet to the east. Only the north side of the subject property abuts the rest of the Hazelwood Urban Residential District. The rezoning would extend the Hazelwood Business District to Ellisenia, linking the 2 commercial districts along Hazelwood Avenue. The Hazelwood Business District is a small-scale center for business, retail, and institutional activity with a broad mix of permitted uses. Connections among properties within this district and to the surrounding districts are very important. The applicant is making the rezoning request to allow commercial uses to be placed on the property. In the short term, the property owner would like to allow Gabby's Food Truck to relocate from its current location on Charlie's Corner to 4 Ellisenia Avenue. The change in zoning would also allow for many more potential uses in accordance with the permitted uses table in LDS section 2.5.3. Office, service, and commercial uses allowed in the business district would now also be allowed on that lot. The change in the zoning will also remove the base density from the subject property from 16 units per acre to no maximum base. Some of the more intense uses which will be allowed under the Hazelwood Business District include banks, credit unions, financial services, dry cleaning and laundry services, hotels and motels, alcoholic beverage sales stores, pawn shops, vehicle services, theaters outdoor, and manufacturing, light, and neighborhood. The subject property is a corner lot surrounded on both sides by commercial zoning, Hazelwood Business District and Hazelwood Business Railroad Overlay District, and is across the street from Commercial Industrial District. The uses of the surrounding properties include heavy vehicle storage, retail, and an urgent care. The allowances for commercial uses on the lot would be consistent with the character of the area along Hazelwood Avenue and create new opportunities for commercial and/or residential development in downtown Hazelwood. With the subject property's location along a bustling commercial corridor and being surrounded by intense uses, it is a prime location for commercial development and the expansion of the Hazelwood Business District. Many of our zoning districts run along one side of the street, preventing cohesion in the landscape, as you can see here. In this case, uses allowed in most of the adjacent lots are not allowed on the subject property. This rezoning allows for the creation of a more cohesive commercial corridor. On the north side of the property that is adjacent to the Hazelwood Urban Residential District, commercial development will require a type C buffer in accordance with LDS section 8.4.1 required buffer yards. This requirement will mitigate the impacts of the adjacent residential properties by the potential commercial development. During the planning board hearing on July 13th, the planning board expressed concern regarding the rezoning as being a permanent solution to a temporary problem in reference to the food truck. They are worried that after the food truck leaves, the property will continue to be more open to contention, new commercial development, which will further encroach on the limited area for residential projects. At the same time, they were also concerned about removing the base density, which would allow as many housing units as the property owner would like on that property. The increase in density has been a continued issue for the planning board across multiple hearings. A motion to recommend the planning board a motion to recommend that the town council deny the proposed map amendment was carried in a split vote of 3-2. The future land use map shows the subject property designated as residential medium to high density with mixed use community to the east and west and industrial to the south. The use of the subject property commercially would transition between the industrial uses to the south and the residential uses to the north. Approval of the map amendment will also include amending the land use map to mixed use community. The staff recommends that the town council find that the map amendment is consistent with Waynesville's comprehensive land use plan and amend the land use map. The map amendment is reasonable and in the public interest because it meets the following goals of the comprehensive plan. Goal 1, to continue to promote smart growth principles in land use and planning and zoning, creating a walkable and attractive neighborhoods and commercial centers, and to encourage infill, mixed use, and context-sensitive development. It is also consistent with Goal 3, which is to create opportunities for a sustainable economy, promote Waynesville's downtown districts, inns, restaurants, and reputation as gateway to the Smokies. The applicant submitted the application on December 6th, 2024. Public notices of this public hearing were provided with the sign posting on January 21st, 2025. Letters to adjacent property owners within 100 feet via first-class mail on January 21st, 2025, and in the Mountaineer newspaper on January 29th, 2025, and February 5th, 2025. The notice was also emailed to local media on January 29th, 2025. Our requested actions are that you motion a motion to find the rezoning request as being consistent or inconsistent with the 2025 land use plan and reasonable and in the public interest, which will also include amending the land use map, and to motion to recommend the map amendment for approval or denial by the town council. I'm here to answer any questions that you have about this, and the applicant, Mr. John Bergen, is also here.
John, have any questions for?
You alluded to the question of density and boy, what a loaded that question that is. Can you help me understand what the ramifications are in terms of removing any density restrictions on that property in terms of the number of units that might potentially be built there?
Yeah, I can't. So currently, there's a maximum allowance of 16 units per acre on that property. With the rezoning, that would bring that into line with the surrounding properties. So where there would be no cap on the number of units allowed on that property. I can't speak to any plans for residential development. Like I said, Mr. Bergen can speak to that. But that would be the outcome. There's no density on those surrounding properties, which are also
and surrounding properties being the ones that are in the district that Mr. Bergen is seeking to move to, correct?
Right. So he's seeking to move into that purple district, which is the Hazelwood Business District. That blue district on the right is the railroad overlay district for the Hazelwood Business District, and then just to the south there is that dark blue is the commercial industrial district right there. But he's looking to move into that purple district.
Okay. Any further questions, John? Julie, have you?
No, sir.
Chuck? Okay. John, would you like to speak on your behalf?
Yeah.
Do what?
Motion.
Oh, we did. No, we're not closing it. It's still.
Yeah. Okay, I move that we open the public hearing.
And can we also?
I thought we already did that.
The clerk says that we did.
Okay. She knows better.
And there also be a motion to.
Second the motion to open the public hearing.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, so like sign.
And I make a motion to adopt all the, statement testimony, or, Alex, on be part of the record for the.
Okay, got a motion?
Second.
Second, John, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so like sign. Now, John. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And again, thanks to Alex and the town staff for all their hard work on this. This, I think they summed it up better than I ever could. Just a couple of points that they brought up. This rezoning this to this district would kind of be more in line with the unified development board in the future. The other thing is this is the logical way for downtown Hazelwood, we'll call it that, for the grow their business district. It'd be hard to go in both the other direction. And thirdly, to speak to the residential aspect of it, we're not losing the ability to do residential. As far as density would go, there would be several registered things that we would have to meet and adhere to, like parking and height and all those things like that. That would really speak to the fact that you couldn't do more residential type development there than the property. So I think this is a good thing for the community. It's a good thing for Hazelwood, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah. Question for.
Have we, on the side facing, the new districts, it seems reasonable to me. The, question I would have is, and I know Alex alluded to the types of buffering that would have to exist on that side of the property facing the residential side. Have we heard anything from those neighbors or anybody else in the residential side?
I received one phone call from the property owner to the east or to the west on the other side of Westwood Circle, and they had no problem with this rezoning.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to ask you, but would your plans be maybe to spruce that up a little bit?
Well, absolutely. That would be.
Yeah.
What started this was when Gabby's approached me about moving her food truck up there. She lost her traffic pattern.
Yeah.
In Brockville. It is a great little piece of property. We thought for sure that'd be great for her to move up there, and then when we discovered that it wasn't allowed, that's what started this process. I have no long-term future plans for that piece of property, other than it would be a nice place for not just Gabby, also other factories.
Yeah, I think so. I have no problem with it.
I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
I've got a motion to close. Second, by Julie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so like sign. Okay. Ms. Lee.
Mayor, I'd like to make
I can do it.
I was gonna say, I don't know that close.
In the absence of Anthony, who does this.
A lot of reading.
I move that we find that the zoning request for a map amendment is consistent with the 2035 land use, reasonable, and in the public interest because of the following goals. Goal 1, it continues to promote smart growth principles in land use planning and zoning, and that it creates walkable and attractive neighborhoods and commercial centers, and encourages infill, mixed use, and context sensitive development. And that it also meets goal 5, that it creates opportunities for sustainable economy in that it promotes Waynesville's downtown districts, inns, restaurants, and reputation as the gateway.
Did Anthony leave that with you?
I got this myself.
Okay.
No.
All right. We got a motion.
Second from
Got a second by Julia. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
And then I move that we adopt a map amendment of ordinance, for the same reasons as stated in the first.
Okay, got a motion?
Second.
Second by Julie, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so like sign. Okay. Bring us something good to eat there. Thank you, John. Is he doing the finance department? In the Russian?
No, he's doing fine. John's doing fine.
Okay, I was gonna rush him on the finance department. Okay. We move to new business, and I haven't seen Luke here.
Luke, I sent Luke to his conference. He was gonna try to come tonight, and he's gotta be in Winston-Salem at 8 tomorrow morning. I didn't really want to drive in this weather.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do it for him.
All right. As long as you do a good job.
Well, I don't know about that, but I won't do as good as Luke.
Luke would do a good job.
Well, he's certainly better looking, let me say that. The staff issued requests for qualifications for the design, bidding, and construction administration for storm damage repairs to the town's ball fields, greenways, and dog park. FEMA requires that we consider each of these separate projects, so we had to issue 3 separate requests for qualification. The town received 3 bids for the design of the ball fields and 2 bids for the design of the greenway and dog park. The committee of department heads reviewed the proposals and chose the firm of McAdams Company to carry out the design and other services for the ball fields, and Civil Design Concept to carry out design for the dog parks and the greenway. And remember, each of these firms bid each of these separately. It just happens that CDC was our selection for both the dog park and the greenway. In the design contract, we'd have one contract for 2 separate projects to meet FEMA guidelines. We chose McAdams and Company because of their history of designing athletic fields and baseball fields in particular. They've done work for the minor league baseball field in Asheville, at Duke University, at Carolina, and a number of municipal ball fields. They have an architect stationed headquartered in Asheville that has done a tremendous amount of design work for press boxes, dugouts, restroom facilities, and his experience with those particular buildings carried McAdams above the other bidders whose architects didn't have experience of designing recreation facility, ball field buildings. Civil Design Concepts had experience both designing dog parks in the public and the private sector, as well as they had done work on ball fields, though this is not what we're asking them to do. And they have done considerable work with Greenway, so they had experience. There are local folks that can actually look and inspect work on the greenways and dog park as it happened. We felt like they had the experience and the fact that they're local and can inspect the work quickly. That was our choice for that. We have to follow General Statutes 143-64-31, which is the procurement of architect, engineering, and surveying services. So should the council approve the staff's recommendation for the architect engineers based on their qualifications, you would instruct us to negotiate contracts with the firm. We will return to the council, hopefully at your next meeting, with a recommended contract for these services. I've asked the firms, would they do a lump sum contract rather than a percentage contract, and they both indicated that that would be their preference as well. This is our recommendation, and hopefully in the 25th, we can return with a contract so that we can get this design work started. The folks that are looking at the ball fields indicated that because of the amount of surveying done, that may be a 3 to 4 month process. Civil design context indicated that their job is simpler, and they could expect maybe a 2 month design process for the dog park and the greenway. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions for Rob? Chip?
Yes, sir.
Jude? John?
I believe we approved the proposal of McAdams Company for design, bidding, and construction administration of the town's ball fields, and approved the proposals of civil design concepts for design, bidding, and construction administration of the greenways and dog park. And I guess, and instruct town staff to negotiate contracts.
You can do those both in one bid. I mean.
I can do, no, I can do it in one motion.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Second.
Second by Julia. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Okay. All right. We'll move to we'll move on to communication from our staff. Rob, do you have anything for us tonight?
If you're going to report on our meeting today, then no, sir.
No, I'll let you handle that.
Okay.
We had a long day today, Rob and I did, in Asheville.
The mayor and I attended the second of 2 meetings that we had sponsored by the League of Municipalities and the National Association of Counties to go over the ongoing and frankly moving target of disaster recovery in Western North Carolina. We heard from a number of more detailed planning for disaster recovery than we did at our first meeting in Marion in November. The state discussed a loan program that cities and counties could possibly use to restore some of the funds that they had lent out to private contractors for to pay them so that our fund balance wouldn't be drained. They didn't give us a lot of detail, but that's something we'll be looking at. We believe that we've spent about $800,000 in so far in Waynesville. So that's before we do all the dog park and all that stuff, which I estimate to be about $1 million. So we'll certainly look at a 0% loan that would last about 5 years if it'll help us restore our fund balance. I had a meeting for about 30 minutes with a consultant, a storm recovery consultant, and he gave me some advice on how to deal with FEMA on post-disaster inspections. He also said that FEMA was not necessarily going to pay us dollar for dollar for enhancements to the ballparks and to the dog parks. They would possibly pay us dollar for dollar for restoring the ballparks and the dog park to the way it was before the storm. But if we, for instance, double the size of the dog park, double the size of the fencing, add LED lighting and brand new scoreboards and things like that to the ballpark, we may not be reimbursed dollar for dollar. And so as we move into the construction phase and the bidding phase, we'll hopefully have a price from FEMA as to what they will cover. And we'll have to decide how much money we want to spend out of our own savings account to enhance the ballpark and to enhance the dog park. So as we move forward in these projects, I think we need to be realistic and realize that some of the money for putting these things back in better shape than they were is going to come out of our pocket. So that's kind of where I leave things tonight.
But the consultant said that we should be able to get word from FEMA beforehand about
What?
That's what you were concerned about.
Yes, I wanted to be I'd like to, yes, I'd like to be pre-approved. Julie. That's exactly right. I don't think that they're not going to do that. But what they will do after we steer them through the damaged areas, what they'll do is give us a sense of how much money they'll approve. One of the contradictions that I'm finding in the advice I'm getting from the local FEMA folks is they encourage us to build our ball fields back so that the first 4 feet is storm-proof. Right now, it's just 2x4s and siding. Our bathrooms, 2x4s and siding. So they said, oh, we want you to build it back so that if it floods again, it won't be damaged the way it is now. Okay, that's great. However, are you going to pay me for it? Okay.
Is that in we don't reimburse
Yeah.
for?
So I'm getting one of the things that is frustrating all the managers in Haywood County is we're getting a lot of contradictory advice, and I'm using Joy Garland as my mentor because she's been through 4 storms, and she says that this is every storm they get different advice. And she's getting different advice about this storm, and it's only 4 months old. So we're not, Waynesville's not the only one that's scratching our head and wondering how we're going to resolve this. But I think we have to be very realistic when we look at the budget for these ball fields, dog parks, greenways, that we may not be reimbursed dollar for dollar 2 or 3 years.
Are there any monies from the state or federal government for rebuilding, in addition to what FEMA made?
Well, the frustrating thing is that FEMA led us to believe that they were going to allow us to enhance the projects to flood proof, for instance, moving the dog park above the 100-year flood stage. This consultant said that's not necessarily so. So if I'm being ambiguous, they are being ambiguous to me. I'm going to try to tie that down, but so far, none of the managers have been able to tie it down.
And I guess what I'm hoping is that there's all these monies being appropriated and early. We can get able to get some.
Yes.
But yeah, I understand. The other thing I wanted to ask about is the money for the loan program has already been appropriated, correct?
That's correct.
They just haven't loaned any money out there.
They indicated that the treasurer has been in office 4 weeks and the speaker today had been in office 2 weeks. He had not had previous governmental experience. So he said that we would be able to get 0% loan for 5 years if we qualify. But he didn't tell us how to qualify, which is kind of what we went to the meeting to find out is what are the standards. He said that they would be getting a memo out Thursday and that we needed to have all our applications in by Friday at 5 statewide. So that's just not going to happen.
Well, we appreciate everything you're doing.
Let me say that the mayor was with me and he stopped me from getting, headed for an ABC store after the meeting due to him being on the wagon, but I was sorely tempted.
Was it worth mentioning about the zero interest loan?
That's what Chuck and I were talking about.
Yeah, there is.
We're hoping that they'll clarify that. They did indicate that there's only $100 million in that fund, and
I could take over $1 million of it right now. So I don't know how far. One of the things that I think is unfair is that entitlement cities, CDBG cities like Asheville got $227 million. No questions asked. We have to go through an entire grant process to see if we qualify for any.
Yeah, I remember him saying that's very, very unfair for the rest of the municipalities.
And Rob, I know being a trustee on the Elks Board, our ball field, we've been turned down twice. We've with FEMA, we've got a delegation going to Raleigh. They'll be down here on Friday trying to meet with some legislators to see if we can get that open. And we've been very active, and I know you guys have too, with the Little League, some of those things. And we've been very fortunate. Mackie McKay is volunteering his time to help us pull these projects forward. So,
if you're moving with FEMA, one of the things the consultant said is absolutely critical to have FEMA have a post-disaster walkthrough. If they don't see the property in its damaged state, they won't compensate you for improvements. And I didn't realize, no one in FEMA had told me that in any of our meetings. I found that out today and confirmed it with Joy Garland. She had been told the same thing. So we're going to get our FEMA representatives out to the ball field. My suggestion is,
I didn't know that either, so we'll try that.
Yeah, you see,
one more angle.
So you can understand my frustration is that I shouldn't be learning this 4 months later, having spent as many hours with the FEMA reps as
It was an interesting day.
the other thing that I think some of the local elected officials voiced was that we continue to be promised, millions of dollars in relief, but then we get told that the money is placed in a particular agency and it will be a year before they have a program of grants that we can apply for. Unfortunately, we'd like money now, and for those cities that don't have the available fund balance, they won't be able to grab that money from the state, at least for a year, and then they have to apply for it. Where Asheville, gets it with no questions asked. Again, I don't think that's very fair.
Well, what's unfortunate is that with COVID, we lost 2 years of young people not being able to participate in sports. And now with this flood, we're looking, when I met with the Little League the other day, we're going to lose another, this year's gone, 2025's out, and then we're going to lose, it's going to be 2026. So that's very unfortunate within a 6-year span that our children have not been able to get out and play their sports. So it's heart-wrenching.
One thing you just pointed out that hadn't occurred to me is there's a tremendous effort to help public agencies and a tremendous effort to help private business. I haven't heard one word about helping nonprofits, and I think that's critical. So many communities depend on the Elks clubs and the Kiwanis clubs to provide their recreation for them. The legislators need to open up some of those programs to nonprofits.
Didn't you talk though about being able to use Kenton's field for some of this? Didn't I hear that somewhere? For us, the complex next to Mayo.
I didn't hear.
I know Mr. McKay, that the focus from Mackie, again, they're totally volunteering, is they're getting the softball field at Tuscola opened up. They're going to move to the baseball field next. And he's volunteering his engineering and all of his expertise to wherever he can. So
yeah,
at that point, they're just trying to get at least one ball field opened up here.
If he could keep his hours, it's possible that you can use the value of his time as an in-kind contribution. When the grants come.
I didn't know that.
I'm assuming that would be the case.
And he may know that. He didn't say that.
He just has to keep it, in his book, and if it happens, it happens. I'd hate to see thousands of dollars of in-kind contributions not being able to be documented.
Yeah.
Any further questions for Rob? John, you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, town attorney? Yeah, nothing. Okay, we'll move on to our communication from our board. John, you have anything?
No, sir.
Julie?
Just a reminder, I think that the chili cook-off is
Oh, the
this
chili
Saturday.
cook-off.
There's 50 stops. That's what I read, or maybe
From 12 to 5. or
it's a
something.
long time. So
Wow.
if you're down in
During the
downtown
day.
Waynesville, stroll around and eat some chili.
I am, signed up for my 4th go around.
Oh, you're a judge?
Judging, so.
Are you?
It is a fun experience and it's, there are some good cooks in this town, I can tell you that. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Sounds fun. I have nothing further either.
I had one question. Are we looking at doing some kind of retreat sometime? I know. we're
Oh,
taking a little
you know
long
what,
this year.
you just remind me, I've had a long day. I was gonna ask you whether you'd like to look at, the first Friday in March. We used to hold them on Fridays.
Yeah.
First Friday in March, not March, I'm sorry. It's almost the second week of February. Let's look at,
That would be the 14th.
yeah, let's look at the 4th Friday in March.
That's the
I'm waiting on, the sales tax figures for December are coming.
Talking about the 4th Friday in March.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 4th Friday in March. I'm waiting for the sales tax figures for December. That's always a critical month for us. And it kind of gives us a sense of where we are with all of our revenue coming in.
We'll have another board meeting in February. Maybe not know a little further more about that.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
We're
Friday,
all,
March.
28th.
yeah.
Okay.
We're already working on our financial forecast for you.
Okay. With no further, I'll entertain a motion. We adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I don't think anybody's going to oppose. Alex, you going to oppose?
Yeah, actually.
Thanks, Bailey.